Good day. Today we will now be looking at question 3 of November 2021. Okay, let's read the question. So the question says, consider the quadratic number pattern. So we've got a quadratic number pattern, and it says, the first question says, write down the value of T4. Okay, so just wanting us to continue the pattern. So let's write out our pattern and continue the pattern. Okay, so we've got negative 145, negative 122, and then we've got negative 101. So we're going to use our calculator to now find the difference between each of these terms. So negative 122 minus, so be very careful of that. It's going to be negative 122 minus 145. Okay, so that's going to become positive. And here we're going to get 23 because our bigger number is becoming positive here. Okay, hope you understand what I'm saying. So it's going to become negative 122 positive 154, which actually is just 154 minus 122. Okay, same scenario here. It's going to be negative 101 minus 122, so that's going to become a positive. So it's actually just going to be 122 minus 101, which is essentially 21. Okay, so now because we have a quadratic sequence, our first part is not equal to one another, so we need to further go, and we're going to see that that is going to be negative 2. 21 minus 23 is negative 2, but that's not what the question asked us. The question asked us to find the next term, so we need the pattern here, so it's going to be negative 2. So if we're working backwards, we have to subtract negative 2, and that's going to give me 19. Okay, so 101, negative 101 minus 19, so essentially negative 101 plus 19 is going to give me negative 82. We're working backwards, so I said negative 101 plus 19 is going to give me negative 82. Okay, so that was question. Write down the value of T4. We got T4 to be equal to negative 82. The next question says, show that the general term of this number pattern is that. Okay, so they're wanting us to basically calculate the general term, and we can check ourselves afterwards with what they've been given us. Okay, so looking here, we know when you're calculating general term, you need to know that your first difference formula and your second difference formula, and then your third difference formula. Okay, we need to find an A, a B, and a C. So here it's 2A is equal to the difference. Here it's going to be 3A plus B is equal to the first term, and here it's going to be A plus B plus C. Okay, so it's all correlating to the first term. So 2A is equal to the first term, 3A plus B is equal to the first term, and A plus B plus C is equal to the first term. Okay, so let's calculate now. So we've got 2A is equal to negative 2. We're finding A. Divide by 2. A is equal to negative 1. The next one, we're finding B now because we have A. 3A plus B is equal to 23. We know A now is negative 1. We can substitute. We want B equal to 23. Negative 3 plus B is equal to 23. We're going to take it over to the other side. So it's going to be 23 plus 3 is equal to 26. Okay, we have B. Now the last thing that we need is C. A plus B plus C is equal to negative 145. We substitute negative 1 plus 26 plus C is equal to negative 145. We're going to isolate C, so we're going to take everything to the other side. Negative 145 plus 1 minus 26, and this is going to give me, if you add it into your calculator, it's going to give me negative 170. Now we're going to take everything and put it together. So Tn is equal to, our a is 1, so it's going to be negative 1 or negative n squared. You can omit the 1 because it makes more sense, so it's just negative n squared. Then we've got plus 26n, my b is 26, and my last value is negative 170. And let's see if that is the same as what they gave us. And yes, it is. Here they have negative n squared plus 26 n minus 170. So we calculated exactly what they gave you. I think the most important thing here is knowing these formula here. Knowing the first difference, second difference, and the third difference. That's very important. Okay. So I'm going to just erase our calculations, but I'm going to keep the formula. Delete. Delete. Okay. Let us now look at the next question and what the next question says. So the next question says, between which two terms of the quadratic number pattern will there be a difference of negative 121? So they're wanting us to find in this level here, in the second difference, between which terms, so here's term 1, here's term 2, here's term 3, and here's term 4. We want to know between which two terms will the difference be negative 121, okay? So we're working with this difference here. We want to find what the difference is, okay? So let's firstly just work with this pattern here to find where 121 is going to fall. So we're going to make this T1, 23 is T1, T2, T3. We're going to work with that to find which term is going to be 121, okay? And if we can find that, do you see that it correlates? So term 1 correlates with term 1, term 2 correlates with term 2, term 3 correlates with term 3 for the differences. So if I find which term in this pattern negative 121 is, it's going to be this same plus an additional one, okay? Because the difference of 19 is between term 3 and term 4. Okay, so let's firstly create a pattern from what we have here. So Tn, so for a linear, this is now a linear pattern, we're going to use a linear formula, which is Tn is a plus n minus 1 d. A is 23, n minus 1, and the difference is negative 2. So now we're going to simplify. 23 plus negative 2n plus 2. So it's going to be equal to 25 minus 2n. Now we just need to find for what value of n is negative 121 equal to. 25 minus 2n. We're going to take the 25 to the other side. So we're going to get negative 21 minus 25 is equal to 2n. Use your calculator to calculate this, and this is going to be negative 146 is equal to 2n. Divide by 2 on both sides, and then n is therefore equal to 73. It's not going to be a negative value because we're determining the position. So if the n is 73 here, my answer is therefore going to be between 73 and 74. Okay, so that was our answer for 3.3. Okay, I didn't do mark allocation for the previous one, but looking at the mark allocation for this one was the 4 mark allocation, and your marks get awarded for Firstly, for finding this sequence pattern, for substituting negative 121 into the formula, so mark allocation is for the term, finding the number pattern sequence, okay, the substituting negative 121, finding n to be 73, and the answer. Okay, let's take a look now at the last part. The last question says, what value must be added to each term in the number pattern so that the value of the maximum term in the number pattern, in the new number pattern, will be 1. I'm going to read that again. What value must be added to each term in the number pattern so that the value of the maximum term in the new number pattern formed will be 1? So what do we know about maximum term? Maximum term has its own formula, and its n is equal to negative b over 2a. Okay, that's coming from quadratic graphs. Okay, the maximum number in a quadratic graph is negative b over 2a, and that's technically what they're wanting us to solve. They're wanting us to find a new pattern formed where the maximum number will be 1. Okay, so we've got n is equal to minus b over 2a. My b was negative 26, so we're taking my b from here. I got b to be negative 26 in the formula. We can even look at the formula. And a was negative 1. So what do we have here? We've got negative 26 over negative 2, which is 13. Okay, so that is going to tell me that it's going to be term 13. Now we need to find term 13. Let's substitute in negative 13 squared plus 26 13 minus 170. And this should give you negative 1. Now, negative 1 is not a maximum term of 1, so how much more will be needed? So the question asks, what value must be added to each term so that the maximum is 1? So we would need to say the final answer then is that you must add 2. Okay, this was a 3-mark question. It was a bit of an applied question, applying the knowledge of other factors in the quadratic formula. So most importantly, 13. So even if you could remember the maximum number formula, getting 13 was 1 mark, getting negative 1 was another mark, and adding 2. Okay, thank you so much for your watching this video.